is positioning. Your second one is 5 primary techniques. Now, we used to have 8, and I like to develop 8, but primary techniques are, again, to use that thing from the music world, your repertoire. This is what makes you unique. This is how you fight. This is your techniques. This is your kicking, punching routines. This is what differs you from somebody else. And it can be basic punch, basic kick, or they can be elaborate, whatever. It doesn't matter. But you need to develop a minimum of 5 basic techniques, primary techniques. And when you've got them developed, the rule of thumb to say, well, I've got this done is 8 out of 10 times you try to work it on somebody that's not allowing you to work it on them, but 8 out of 10 times you try it and it works, and then you can say, I got it. I got this technique. I know this technique. And the way to do it is say, okay, you have 3 basic types of fighters. You have an aggressive fighter, you have a counter fighter, and you have a runner. Now, you may be a mixture of the 3, but you're going to be predominantly one of them. And you say, okay, I'm an aggressive fighter. Well, what you need to develop is out of those 5, you need to develop 2 aggressive techniques. Then you need to develop 1 or 2 running techniques, 1 or 2 counter techniques. But you take your first and you say, okay, I'm an aggressive fighter, so I use the 8, but we'll deal with 3 here. You take 3 techniques and you say, I'm going to be an aggressive guy. These are my 3 aggressive techniques. Lead, right hand, whatever. Then you get those, so 8 out of 10 times you hit somebody, they work, you say, okay, I got these. And then you develop the other 2, 1 running against the runner, 1 you're countering man. And if you're a counter fighter, then it's 3 counter techniques, and so on and so on, all right? So you have to develop your repertoire. You just walk out there and see what's going to happen. Everybody's going to like something different. Somebody's going to be better than the other. Smaller people, shorter people, thinner people are going to be quicker, faster, more limber, jumping able, some of this most of the time. The bigger guys, the bulky guys are going to be a little slower, and so they need different techniques. I've got black belts that couldn't kick above their kneecap if they tried because they're so darn stiff. Well, they develop techniques that allow them to be effective. They're predominantly a hand man. They use their legs for checking and blocking. Very little kicking, all right? So you have your 5 primary techniques. So you can say, what kind of fighter am I? Am I an aggressive fighter? Am I a counter fighter? Am I a runner? Oh, that didn't feel good, did it? Thank you. I just blew that. Yeah. What type of fighter are you? An aggressive fighter, a counter fighter, or a runner? It's no shame. Some of the toughest fighters I've ever come up against were runner fighters. These are guys that stay right outside your perimeter and make you overextend yourself, and you got to catch them and bang, you're gone. Some Japanese styles deal with that, man. They're fighting from a running stance. So you're there, they're here, and they're running. I fought a guy up in Lynchburg named Lawrence Arthur, and he had a school in a big A&P supermarket was his school. And we would get into the gym to spar, and he would run backwards, and I would run forward at full speed, try to catch him, and about 2/3 of the way down, bang, it hit me. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I slowed it down one day and said, let me see what's going on here. And I realized I was dropping my hand. As soon as I dropped my hand, he hit me. So he was a runner fighter, and he was one of the hardest guys I ever had to fight. So it's you determine what kind of fighter you are. Then you develop technique that brings your talent to the thing. By the time you're a black belt, you should have your own basic techniques. That's why in my particular system that I teach, when you make your black belt, you hand me 8 fighting techniques that you're developing. Out of all the ones you learned or ones you made up. You just need to be able to explain them and do them. And we go from there. So that's your 5 primary techniques.